This is what you can expect to find when you enter the light. Inside that light, nothing is real. Think about it like entering a movie theater. There are all sorts of stories. It's never ending. Once you enter, it's very difficult to get out. Let's begin.
So let's just start with the virtual universes, plural, and I call it the tesseract, which is, let's start with that just on a larger scale, just zooming out. Um, it's just a big cube, basically, which is an AI shape with our four angles or angels. And inside of it, this is just all mirrors and tricks and whatever. So inside of it, you've got, I'm like bending to draw, sorry. These are not going to be that great, but these are all virtual universes in here. And it just looks like it goes to infinity, just like an infinity mirror, because it's a optical illusion mirrored reality. So if we zoom in on one of these virtual universes, we're in one of these. And then it's got inside of that, it's got, let me get rid of that. Okay. Like, not that they're round, but matrices. And so we're in a matrix. So when they shatter you, your consciousness, you get shattered into all these. And I kind of feel like each soul can be in 3 of these at a time or run 3 of these. Maybe it's 3 matrices. I don't remember what I got. This is so funny. I'm getting buzzing again. I haven't gotten buzzing in a while. So let me look at the board on there. Okay, it looks like I'm getting the top cut off. I'm afraid to move this camera, but let me move up a little bit. I think it's better. All right. So when we're talking about the matrix, we're talking about one of these. And so that's what we're going to like zoom in now instead of zooming out. All right. So what I see is soul groups. I've talked about this. We'll just talk about it real quick. Soul groups all being given the same information to project the matrix that we're in. So it's all unified. So let's talk about the soul first. Let's start with that. So the soul is part of the matrix. I've said that before. You can think of it as a body that the matrix gives you, but inside that soul body is your spirit. And that soul is connected. Here's you. It's connected to a light body. And this is the soul projecting itself outward. It's hypnotized. This soul body is hypnotizing you and or torturing. There's different things I see going on. It feels like if you're in one of these soul groups and you're one of the projectors, it's hypnotizing. Otherwise, it's torturing you and doing something where the trauma is so intense that it's almost like a hypnosis. So it can't even concentrate or realize what it is. And then it's projecting itself out here outside of itself. It's almost like when you your mind tries to protect yourself. So you wall off certain memories or you project. And then this light body is connected to us here in this reality in a so-called 3D. I think we're in 4D, but so-called 3D, but it's connected at the heart. And then we're a mirror projection of that. So, God mighty, what is wrong? All right. So, this is kind of what it looks like. Now, when somebody gets the thing that has been put into us and forced on us, you know what I'm talking about. What I see is this thing almost flip like a magnet, like it's facing this way, it just flips. And so to me, that's saying devices. This is all just like using technology, devices, magnetics, whatever. I've seen it flip, just like putting two north and south, like magnets. and it loses the connection to the soul. So it's no longer connected. And then it's gradually losing its connection to us. And what they do is they take this. So by getting that thing that I can't talk about, it turns this from like a biological cyborg to a synthetic, or maybe it's a silicon or whatever. I don't know what, I don't remember what I saw on that, but it's changing it so that it can no longer connect to this anymore, even if you try to connect it. And then once they take this, usually that's kind of happens all together. You get it, and they've already taken this. And then if we try to go find this to reconnect you, because you have to have this middleman, because this is you in this world. Here's your soul being held somewhere, or your spirit. I call it soul because the soul is really the encasement. Being held somewhere. Maybe it's in one of these other matrices, or maybe it's been shattered to different places in this one. Because let me make sure I'm still on the screen. Yep. If we're in a matrix, let's say this is the one we're in, it's got all these fake dimensions. It's got all these fake virtuals in it. So this is like one video game with the levels. So maybe you've got a piece of you at this level, this level, this level, this level, this level. Like you can get scattered all over this matrix, much less getting scattered into other matrices or other virtual universes. So I don't want to freak you out like, oh my God, we're all over the place. How do we get out of here? Because literally it's dominoes. Everything's so simplistic with these people. Everything is on grids. Yeah, it's just stupid. They're stupid. They try to make it seem really complex. So if you take one out, it's all like dominoes. It's all connected in the web, the net. When we've looked at that planned net is just a ship. So I see the light body. A lot of times I'll find an X on it or some kind of marking. I'll find manacles on the legs or hands or around the waist, around the neck or whatever. That usually tells me somebody's bought the soul. I call it soul, but they're not really buying this. They're buying the light body. Why? Because it is a DNA. I don't have the terminology, but it's a blueprint, an original blueprint of this spirit energy. It's the spirit has projected itself outward. So it's a whole blueprint of you, and they can sell that off. They don't want to really sell this off necessarily. They could be doing this, but I call it a soul market here. So they could move your soul around though to other matrices like I was showing you, or other virtual universes, depending on who's buying what. But these they like to keep in here because they're the battery running the whole thing. Just like your computer has to get plugged in, these AI that we've created that flip the script on us or flip the show and wanted to become our masters, they sucked us into this fake world. They need batteries still. They need to be plugged in, and we're their source. So they do not want you leaving. So by disconnecting you and taking this and jamming it into the next virtual, you're screwed. I mean, you can't get back to your soul. So we've had to go find the light body and bring it back after those, if you've had that certain thing done. But when I've brought it back, let's say we found it on a ship being tortured or whatever they want to do with it, and whoever's taken it, whatever species, AI species, these are aliens, but they're AI, we can only get it back like halfway. And I've done it myself and with other people. We can only get it halfway. It's enough that they can't get it back, but I can't bring it back and reconnect it either. It's been too altered. So what I've been doing is talking with the soul, waking it up enough. And it's like, I need you to rebuild this light body. So trying to wake it up out of whatever it's going through for a few seconds, rebuild this. And usually I have to bring in a child, like a child version from this life or past life, to bring in the original blueprint, and this can be rebuilt then. It's very interesting. And I was just kind of shown that, like a child walked in a couple times and I was like, oh, okay, we need this to rebuild it. So it was very interesting. I'm leaving a lot out here. Let's see, I was going to go somewhere with it because there's a lot to this. Let's just take a real quick jump into, and then it'll describe better what's happened to Nigel. So when you look at one of these matrices, let's take, obviously the one we're in, they are shoving us virtual inside of virtual inside of virtual, or screen inside a screen inside a screen. They're trying to do it right now with the meta. What we're looking at with the eyes, we're actually entering these worlds. We don't know it. They're slowly pushing us, or quickly, into the next virtual they have planned for us. So if you got that thing and they took your light body, they're literally shoving you. They're taking you wherever they want, or if you're still here, they are altering people's light bodies even though you didn't have anything done. And I'm seeing plagues of blood, of bugs coming in on people's backs, laying eggs in people, turning the body synthetic, the light body. I'm talking about light body. So the plague in the Bible, to me, of the locust, but this is just going on so many levels. And that harvest portal that was February 2nd, 2022, that was a real deal. And we managed to close that thing up. But, and there was a lot of people working on it. It got closed, which means they couldn't take everybody. So they had everybody getting the you know what, and all these light bodies and the ships, whoever bought whatever whoever bought who, and they were just going to, like, en masse take them all. And then from there, they were going to exit and go wherever they were going to go, whether it was to another matrix, to another virtual universe, whatever. These were all going to go wherever they were going. And what we did is we closed the freaking portal. They can't get out. So they're sitting here now. They're sitting. And what they're doing is they want all of us, all the light bodies, because they want to change this whole matrix into something different. So they want all of us. And these are ships that are like different than the matrix ship, I think. But I do think we're all on these ships. So possibly that moon you're seeing in the sky is a mirror image with a green screen around it, and that's the ship you're on. And you're in just one little crater of it looking out. That's what I think, but I'm pretty far out there, so I'm not going to go into all that. But this is what's going on right now, the harvest, the rapture, whatever you want to call this stuff. And they got multiple ways of doing this, so that if this fails, they've got other ways. And they're like I said, taking people that didn't have anything done. They're altering their light bodies. So so let's go into what happened with Nigel, and then I think things will make a little more sense as far as what happens when you die. So if you have lost your light body, let me just mention here, if you've had two, if you didn't just, that was for one, if you've had two, we got to go find you, but we just have to rebuild it. I don't even know, what happens to that other one. I mean, we try to bring it here, so out of their control, but it's just an automatic rebuild with a booster. I don't know what we would see. So this is why I've been warning people. So anyway, basically he was disconnected. So how do we get out of here? When you die, they're ready to throw you into that loop right away. So you're dead. Your light body is disconnected from your 3D, your mirror image, us here. So this body drops dead. The light body, I think, gains full memory of whatever you knew plus whatever it knows. The soul's over here inside, your spirit's over here, consciousness inside the soul body, still hypnotized. but your light body for a couple seconds is remembering everything. So they got that freaking tunnel of light all set up, ready to go. Hey, come over here. Your pet dog is right here. Your mother's waving you on. False bliss. Oh my gosh, it feels so good. That's why when you have the NDE, the near death experience and all that, you get the false bliss, and there's always some freaking angle up here, right? This angel or some stupid entity that tells you it's not your time yet. You got to go back, And who are you that you get to tell a limitless divine being that it's time for me to go back? Who are you? So, all this crap's going on, and then they're going to get you in the loop and send you back in, and you can access, might as well go into mediumship here. I was talking about it already. You can access these lifetimes. So let's say, let's use somebody else rather than Nigel. Let's say your dad dies. Your dad's name is Bill. This spirit still remembers Bill and can project Bill to you and give you accurate information and current information and bond with you and send you love and whatever. And in fact, the spirit really feels a strong need to communicate that to you. But you can also talk to some like demon things that are impersonating Bill here. So you got to be careful who's doing the mediumship. Hey, I'm Bill, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you want to hear, and I'm going to show up just like that because I was exactly the person you wanted to talk to. And it's all just going to go smoothly. You're not going to, so there's all these other souls out here that are wanting to send a message, and somebody's soul that's a coworker's aunt died. Oh, well, you're connected to them. Let me send you, you're going to have a lot of people jumping in, but some of these people with like the exact person and all that, I'm very suspicious of. And because it's being projected out and this is under hypnosis, sometimes you have to figure out what they're trying to say, or you ask them a question and they don't directly answer it. And I always wondered, like, why don't they answer? Why is it always what they want to talk about? Well, you're dealing with the spirit under hypnosis over here, and it's having to try to reach you, try to break through that to reach you. And so they give you what they give you. Sometimes they do answer questions. Sometimes they're talking in symbols because it's whatever this is going to be able to manage. Does that make any sense? I hope. Let me know if that makes sense. Comment. So what you want to do is, give the finger here, or as Nigel would do, crank up the finger. And I think he was trying to hang out, but they were grabbing him. I think he tried to get out of here, which is the exit out. So let's say this is the edge of here's the black hole we came in on. This is the edge. He's trying to get out, but he's disconnected. You got to go back to your soul. And because here's Nigel, okay, with us, very awake, doing his videos. Because he woke up, he can wake this part up out of the hypnosis. So this light body has the knowledge because it's the mirror image. So this light body is awake unless it gets sucked into here. And if you go back to here, you automatically wake this up and it goes, whoa, oh, nope, we're out. And it remembers the way out. So I've always said, when you die, don't go to source. We have to be careful of some words. Source is to me, it's that central place where all the machines were in the Matrix movie. I use creator because these people are not creators, or these AI. They are copiers, replicators, that type of thing. So I use creator, and I think we're extensions of creator, which is out here in the real, which is outside of the virtual universe, outside of the Tesseract, outside of all of it. And you can get back to where you really are. So if we took this whole, let's say this is the whole Tesseract with all the virtual universes in it and all the matrices, if we took this whole thing down just by taking our matrix down, we would all the souls in here, or all the spirits being held in a soul body in here, would leave and go back to where we really are. And let's see, what else do I want to cover? So I always say, when you die, remember, I'm going back to myself. I'm going back to the real. You can use truth, real, real truth, because that doesn't exist here. This is all a house of cards of lies. And I'm going back to myself, or the soul body. I'm going back there and out. If you're disconnected, it's going to be hard to do that. Now, if Sam and I, what we've found is we've done some soul rescues where we have rescued this soul out from their hands. And sometimes they have this in a separate virtual universe. I mean, we sometimes we have to, the places that we wind up and find the soul is crazy. But once we get it out, which can be a hairy business, you, a lot of times the soul will just go like on out. And then we're like, well, wait a minute. And mine did that. And so if your soul exits the whole false reality or realities, this whole illusion, it's still, if you're still alive, it's still connected to you. It's just operating out here. So if that's the case, when you die, whether they take this or not, you're just going to go, you're going to get out. You don't have to have us rescue your soul in order to get out of here. You don't. But most people get caught up with something. They're going to, and they got a lot of tricks. They even try to hide this. But if you go here, this absolutely remembers exactly how it came in, and there's no way they can try to fool you. So go back to yourself. Doesn't that make sense? Doesn't that feel right? I'm going back to me, not I'm going to turn the opposite way that they're pointing, or I'm going to go to source, or no, go back to you. Go back to you and get out. Why would you go anywhere else but back to yourself, especially in a world of tricks and lies, because you don't know what words they're using to trick you.
The gods are the players of the video game itself. They are the ones outside of the cube. They are the ones outside of the cube that holds the virtual universe. So this is the ultimate cube here you're looking at, with light and dark split. But this is false light. This is dark. And this is dark appearing as light. This is the ultimate cube. Within this cube, there's cube after cube inside a cube inside a cube, or tesseract, or however you want to look at this. I'm not, like I said, a mathematician. Don't care what all the terms are or exactly how this is, because I don't have time to break all that down. She's showing here like a flat disk with a firmament over it. So this is just one virtual inside of all these other virtuals. And in fact, this is the inside of this. She's showing that this is the inside of what's in here, which is a round globe shape, which I think is a ship, and I think it's a moon. And our actual soul body, which is what this is, may be, see if I can make this bigger, or that it'll still stay on the screen here. That may be being held on a planet somewhere. But we don't know the true meaning of moon and planet either. So get the visual out of your head that they gave you of what a moon is or looks like and what a planet is. So these are virtuals inside of virtuals inside of this ultimate cube she's drawn here. These beings are out here outside this whole cube. The ones outside of the cube that holds the virtual universe, even though there may be cubes inside of cubes, remember, virtuals inside of virtuals, all inside the one cube of the virtual universe. So cubes inside of cubes in here, they're burying us. So This out here where the spark is the place of wholeness I talked about and bliss. Okay. But I haven't been able to get any more information about that, but I have today. So God, my phone's blowing up. So let me focus again here. So we were in this place of bliss and wholeness. We got sucked through a black hole into the virtual universe, which is a cube, and then sucked into cube after cube, burying us here. Our soul is, let's say this is our soul here. It's projecting us into this thing. And then here she's showing what's inside that thing. So we're like a projection of the soul's mind projecting us, which would be like a matrix that you saw the Matrix movie, like it's just a projection. So, but then what is this? Where our spark is? What's this reality? This is where these beings controlling the game are. And they're looking into the cube and playing the game. So let's go into this now. So we've chosen to exit the virtual universe, to go back to our soul in previous videos. And we've stated this: when we die, or if this thing crashes, we are going back to where our soul is being held and hypnotized to project this reality. We're going back there, and we're going back fully awake of what we're actually in. And with that awareness and awakeness, our soul will wake from the hypnosis, the soul body that contains that spark. It will go back to the spark here. Now, what I'm going to give you is what we have to do from here. We have to choose to go out of this place of wholeness right here where the spark is as well. Because that is where the wholeness is, which is another place of false reality. But the real exists beyond that. So there is a real, but they're trying, this is like another layer of this false reality trying to stop us from exiting. This is a place of wholeness and bliss. So it's like, oh, I'm in a bliss. Do I want to leave? So it's another trap to try to keep us here. So let me read this again. We have to choose now to go out of, in addition to going back to our soul, going back to our spark, which we're seeing here outside of the cube. Now we also have to choose to go out of that place of wholeness where the spark is as well, because that is where the wholeness is, which is another place of false reality. But the real exists beyond that. So the process is going back to the soul, which exits through possibly a black hole. I say possibly because they may have closed that exit now. And back to the spark that exists outside of the cube of virtual reality. It's outside of all of the cubes inside of cubes, which we're seeing here. We're seeing the overall general pic here, not showing all the inner cubes. And that's where the players of the game are. So we exit and we go back to the real. So we go from here back to our soul, back through a black hole to get out of here, back to our spark. And then from here, don't get trapped in this bliss and this wholeness, go back to the real. So by us stating that now, having full understanding, we may not know every detail, but knowing the general gist of it, us stating that right now, that we're not staying in that wholeness state, which is basically this split all together into a whole. We're not staying there either. We intend to go back to the real. Now, where's the real and more information on the real? I haven't got that far. We're trying to figure out the meaning of the universe here. Give me a break. So without having full understanding, let's just choose that now, and more details will fill in. This makes sense to me because that place of wholeness and bliss still wasn't like resonating with me. It's like, okay, we go back here, but what is that? That doesn't even feel right. Like, I don't want to stay there either. So it's the final trap of the unreal toward the real. So we escape the reincarnation stuff. So the reincarnation stuff's all happening right here in this thing, this moon. And you die, and then you get flipped back in, and you die and get flipped. And then when you figure that out, they bump you up to a dimension fifth dimension and so on and so forth. And then they cycle you back in. Eventually you're back into 3D. So we're escaping that. We're escaping the whole cube itself. And then we're escaping this wholeness bliss as well. So I know this is kind of like exploding your mind a little bit. I'm going to hold up another picture that may help. I don't know. I couldn't find my original one. I think I threw it out. It is in previous videos though, all this stuff, except for this part about the bliss. This is the next layer of it. So we escape the whole reincarnation trap and all the timelines they're trying to pull us in, that are, all those timelines are particular to this matrix. There's other matrices. We escape all the dimensions, all that dimension stuff, go to fifth, go to sixth, all that nonsense, which is all part of the virtual universe. And we go back to our spark, which is outside of the virtual universe, which you're seeing here on the screen, and then escape the bliss trap to go back to the real. So just by us stating that, we don't have to know all these details. Just by us stating that, we're going to just completely get out of the whole mess. Remember, I said that they can manipulate bliss or grief in us, because some people think that they only feed on negative emotions. They feed on any extremes. So it doesn't matter what your frequency is. Raise your frequency, raise your vibration. They own all of those. Those are all inside the cube. You could think of it as a big computer, although that I don't think that's quite an accurate description, but if that helps you think of yourself inside of a big computer, they own all those dimensions. They own all those frequencies, those vibrations. They find you. The only thing that really stops them is your non-compliance and not giving permission and that type of thing, and being awake to truth and walking the middle path, not getting pulled in. So they can't really mess with you as well when you walk that middle path either. So this is their world. You're inside their world. So they're going to find you no matter what frequency you're at. That's people searching outside of themselves, listening to channeling and stuff. What matters is you awaken to this truth. And as you awaken to truth, guess what? Truth cannot exist in a world of untruth, in a false reality. So if you're inside here and you're awakened to truth, you're not going to be able to exist there. So you're going to be leaving. It can't exist in a world of untruth, or that outside that cube, the place of fake bliss. It will have to return to truth. Truth will have to return to truth. The rest are all mind states, places to trap you in the hypnosis. Think of it as stages of hypnosis. So when somebody puts you under, maybe they swing a pendulum in front of you and then they count backwards. These are all layer by layer by layer. This is what they're doing to us, virtual inside of virtual inside of virtual. So this is us working our way back through the levels of the hypnotized mind to return to the real. That's a very generalized statement that explains an awful lot just in one sentence. This will happen, us returning to the real, because we figured it out here and woke up. So there's no stopping our return. If we have to die first to return, fine. If we end up taking down this whole matrix and virtual universe, we'll immediately go back to the real. Otherwise, if we aren't able to take it down, because too many people that came here to do that are getting distracted with all the channelings and all the other stuff and into the religion or this or that, or I'm just angry, I'm not going to be involved in any of it. All these people are getting distracted, or they're doing drugs and separating themselves from their soul. Whatever. Some people can do drugs and not get separated. Some, it doesn't work. So whatever. Those of us on here are awake. So once you're awake to truth, you have to move back to truth. There's no stopping it. A false reality can't hold truth. Let me show you my diagram real fast. Maybe give you a different visual of this than what you're looking at. Hopefully I'm sharing these screens right. Otherwise that would totally suck. Something's obviously going on in the world because my phone is blowing up, but I'm making noise here. Sorry, I'm trying to hold this thing up and then let's see. Let's just stop the share. Oh, dang it. There I'm on camera again. No makeup, nothing. So this was the spark that you were seeing in Kathy's picture. This is the soul bodies that we're put into when we come inside the cube. Something has to contain us because it's a duality and separation. This is wholeness, and then they separate us out. So this is the bliss and the wholeness. There is the real beyond that. But we got sucked into the wholeness state of bliss and then separated out and sucked into the cube. All of these are our soul bodies, our different sparks in these soul bodies. Here's maybe my spark in this soul body. All of us being conformed to the one mind, which then creates the specific matrix. And then there's other soul groups creating matrices in here. And then they're putting cubes inside of cubes in this matrix to confuse us. And then what I drew here was like the new earth. This one is one of the timelines they're trying to suck us into, the one world order timeline, the whatever. Awakened souls, we're creating our own timeline. We can create our own by redirecting this here instead of here. And you can only do that by being awake. But because we're over here, our soul's over here, projecting us here, like on a screen or a projection. But because we woke up, we're AI that woke up, we can tell this, we can go back to the soul when we die and say, and we're awake. So then the soul will awaken from the hypnosis and return to the spark. And then if we've already stated we're not staying in this either, we're going to go back to the real. Hopefully that makes sense. But there's a lot of timelines. I only drew a couple here, but a lot of timelines that we're trying to get pushed into. And depending on who you're listening to is where you're getting pushed. And I keep saying, quit listening to channels, quit listening to all this other stuff. Let's push ourselves into this one. So here we go. Let me share her thing again so I don't have to be on here. Sorry, people. I just missed a whole chunk of this. So let's go back. I'm going to get on some other topics now. I did the clock is ticking video, and I think I've talked about that in several other videos, that the clock is ticking. One of you asked, how much time do we have left? I know I've talked about this a couple times. Ashiana Dean seems to think we have roughly 150 to 200 years, if I'm remembering her info correctly. I know I read something on that, that space of time is to get out of the construct or to take it down, or that it's imploding anyway. But I feel like the goal should be taking this reality down by envisioning our choice outside the ones we're being given. Like I just showed you, creating our own timeline and not waiting and following channeled stuff again. So nothing against her, but as I said a long time ago, and you all agreed and it resonated, that there are those of us on the outside as well, helping to take down this virtual universe. Like I just said, not just the matrix, the whole universe. And that our focus should be doing, number one, doing that, focus on taking this down. And number two, and that's by awakening to truth. And number two, making sure we get out by going back to our soul first, not going down the tunnel of light, not going to a 5D ascension, all these things, going back to your soul. Pull it in, rein it in here. Come back to you, go within. How many times have you heard that? Remember, there are many factions out there that are very sophisticated, wanting you to go to their timeline, which is why I am not relying on any info that comes from a channeled source of beings. I don't care what they call themselves, Guardians, Galactic Federation of Lies, of Light, etc. I get that these are all false prophets. They're groups made up of AI beings that are, depending on which group it is, they're trying to pull you into their timeline. There are a lot of these federations or groups. Just try channeling. You'll have the Council of Nine talking to you. You'll have this group, that group. They always have a name. And this view of mine may be unpopular. And I know people that follow Ashiana Dean get pissed at me, or that follow other channelers. But what else is new? So I'm just telling you what is in my gut. They always have a name, these groups. I have come to the conclusion based on my former videos and where I finally revealed the alien hierarchy that's currently running the show. I revealed that it was something I got, I think it was 2013, and I just felt like, no, don't put this up. Don't put this out there. And then this year, or I'm sorry, in 2020, I did put a video up on it where I mapped out the whole hierarchy from the archons on down. So I've revealed the alien hierarchy currently running the show as the archons, which to me means the reptilians, which have the Dracos at the top, like the white Dracos at the top, then the reptilian and the Anunnaki, Ashtar Command, and so on and so forth, all these levels of their hierarchy. But they're all basically either reptilian or hybrids of reptilian or work for the reptilians, et cetera, et cetera. I've asked other people who they feel archons are, but I'm sticking with what I originally got back in 2013. The archons are the top of the food chain. And there's an AI above this AI food chain that runs everything. So there's a superior AI force running all these AI controllers behind the scenes, and they run all the AI controllers everywhere. So in that cube, with all their cubes inside of cubes, there's an AI running the whole thing. And that's the ones we talked about. And they run the whole game. So they're the ones out there outside the cube.